Hey, what's going on, everyone? I want to say thank you for clicking on this video and joining me on this journey. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button and that bell so that you can get the notifications every time a video is released. I want to introduce you to our next Educator of the Week. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. Today with us, we have Miss Danielle Parker. She is a content creator and an educator. Danielle, we want to say thank you for joining us today with this interview and agreeing to share your story with us. So can we start with, telling us who you are and what it is that you do and how you started your whole teaching career?
Yes, absolutely. Well, hello. My name is Danielle Parker, like she said, and Brianna said, and I started my teaching career. So I'm in my 4th year in a classroom. I graduated with an early childhood education degree, so birth through 3rd grade in 2016, and then December. So I ended up taking a sub position for 6 months, and it ended up being a long-term sub position at a school in Metro Kansas City where I live. And then it just worked out that they had a position open, so they asked me to apply, and then that is how I became a 1st grade teacher. I taught 1st grade for 3 years, and then this is my 1st year in 3rd grade. And then also I create math content for an ed tech company on the side, and I just started doing that in January.
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations to that content creator position. And I just briefly saw a snippet of what that entailed. It looks like you guys are doing some great things over there. Can you kind of go into what it is that you do with that app, and
Yeah,
actually we can start with the name of the app and what it offers to children.
sure. So I work for a company, a great company. Everybody should go look it up, called Bottle. So Bottle Learning is a new startup. They create K-6 math learning games for students of any math skill. So for example, you can import your whole class from Google Classroom or whatever you're using right now to track your students, and it will the work that I do for them, let me finish with the game. So the game itself, after you log in and you get your class all set up, you can select specific standards. So whatever students need to focus on, you can pick and choose what they work on. You can track their progress. It's amazing. It's a really, really great platform that allows teachers to kind of see more than just, are they finishing levels? You can see what they're doing. They can use pens to draw out their work. And then what I do specifically for the company is, if a student gets stuck on a problem, there's a little TV that pops up on the side that they can click, and the teacher, like myself, or there's a couple others on the team who work on the videos, we teach that standard to the student. So we are helping them through an example problem and then encourage them to go back and try again.
That is awesome. So is the support live that those students are receiving, or are they pre-recorded?
They are pre-recorded, but they are done with intention. So when it's more than just walking through the equation, I'm not just like, all right, then you're going to add 2. We talk about like what it means to add 2, and we show it through the examples, and I'm drawing along with them and try to engage with them as much as I can through the videos. But it definitely goes a little bit deeper than other apps that I've seen that just kind of focus on the steps of the problem or whatever it might be.
Yeah, and I want to say that is so important, that you guys are not just doing the surface level, but for a child to really understand what it is that they're doing, they have to know that why part. And so that's super important. Yeah, so with that app, are there any costs to the app?
It's free right now, so it is free to join. It just launched February 14th, so you can get on the Apple Store and download it on iPads, or you can use their web browser. But no, it is free of charge.
Free of charge. And then the grades are kindergarten through sixth grade, correct?
Sixth grade. Yes, 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 yes.
Perfect. Now, are there any like pre-test in there where they can see where those students start,
Mhm.
or do they just start with what grade level they're in?
There is a, you can choose the grade level and then choose selected standards. I can't remember if there is a pre-test. I think I'm thinking of something else I don't think you really need one though, because it gives you so many opportunities to shift it. And then if you wanted to create a pre-test, you can assign quizzes, assign self-assessments, things like that to students so that they have access to those types of assessments that you want, and then you can look at that data from there.
Nice. So it's
So
pretty
maybe not
flex.
like predetermined, but what was
Yeah,
that?
it's pretty flexible with their learning. So
Yeah,
they can
absolutely.
change their grade level if they feel like the content is too difficult, and they can individualize it.
Definitely, definitely.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. So you're a third, you're a third grade teacher,
Yep.
right? Now, are you guys virtual or are you in person?
Yes. So I work at a little bit of an unconventional school. We are virtual, but I work at a co-teaching school. So we have 47 students and 2 teachers and 1 student teacher right now.
Wow, nice. So tell us, how does
Yeah.
that, how does that conventional school work?
So virtual school right now looks like morning meeting 8:30 a.m. every day, and then we do reading and writing from 9 to 9:45. Small groups are being pulled by other staff members in the school, so kids are going to like reading tutoring and math support and things like that throughout the mornings. And then we do a full group, well, we split into groups throughout the day, but then we come back together after lunch for math for about an hour from 12:20 to 1:20.
Okay,
So it's
nice.
a bit of a split day. We don't stay on all day.
Nice. Now I've seen some videos where you're up, dancing and singing and in your costume. So can you kind of tell us what are some ways that you've engaged your students, and what do you feel has been the most effective?
Oh no. I well, first of all, kudos to you for doing your research because I wasn't expecting that. I am in love with my job in a lot of ways. I think that our job is really, really hard as educators, but it is so fun if you make it fun. And I think the thing that kept me pushing is that I will not enjoy this experience if I don't make it fun for myself. And so like, I'd love to say that a lot of that was for them, but it really was for me because I was at arms. I was like, I don't know what to do to make them like engage with this or really care about it. They're at home, like I'm competing against a TV and siblings and toys, and I needed something that just like caught them. And so I was like, costumes will catch them. A free chicken suit, turkey suit. They corrected me. It's not a chicken, it's a turkey. A free turkey suit from Facebook will catch them. We've done, we're working on dart frogs right now, and we met like Explorer Erin, who is me but in a really bad Australian accent, or Cool Math Girl who pops in every day and does TikTok dances from time to time and then teaches math. So really just building characters that don't take a lot of effort and work and showing excitement so that they show excitement. But we've done a lot. We've done a lot of things to keep them engaged this year.
Yeah. And do you find that those tactics have been most effective?
Well, yes and no, because I think that something I try to remember is that my way of doing things isn't everyone's way of doing things. And if you are not the person who has like the loudest personality in the room, like you can look at me and be like, wow, that's amazing. And they're really engaged, but how do I make this work for me? Or how do I make this work for kids who really don't like that level of energy? Like every day cannot be this huge production. It deters some of the shyer kids. It like for kids who just are kind of more mature, it kind of turns them away. So I would say I always start with that, but then I really focus in on like the science behind engagement and like what sparks curiosity in their brain. I've done a lot of research about it, and it kind of stems down more to like voice level changes or changes in color or like pauses for effect, like things like that, or even just like dropping things in the chat so that they put their guess in and it sparks curiosity because they want to know if they got their answer right. Things like that to maybe focus more on engagement, but the characters and things are just kind of a way to like turn their eyes.
Yeah, yeah, it gives them something new.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely gives them something new.
Yeah.
And you said something so important that I want to highlight again, is you said that your strategies may not work for every child or may not work for every teacher. And it's important for those teachers to find out what works for them, what works for those students, and be flexible enough to, be able to adapt to those situations, so that they're not, um, stressed in those situations where, they feel pressured to have to do what it is that you do to engage
Yep.
your students. And so I commend you on that, for just one, being aware that that matters. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So what would you say would be your greatest inspiration, being a teacher?
Well, I guess I could have mentioned this earlier, but before I wasn't studying teaching originally in college. I was studying event planning and hospitality. And I quit that because I realized that adults are mean. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. And it's just not always fun to work with adults. And that's just my opinion. I'm a teacher, so it kind of like, it doesn't sound, it's not as bad. Cut this. What I mean is, I don't mean to sound, not all adults are bad, but it was just more whatever, I don't know. I just had a better experience working with children, and I've always worked with kids other than college and studying hospitality. I was a party host at Chuck E. Cheese, and I've been Chuck E. Cheese, and I've worked at Incredible Pizza and did that. So I really have always enjoyed working with kids. My biggest inspiration is maybe the kids have a way of looking at life where, especially where I work in the metro, all of them are coming from different areas. I work at a charter, so it's just within the realm of the public school district. So we're getting kids who are, living in mansions on, 75th, and then kids who are struggling to find secure housing. And I think it's just being a resource and being a space for them to know that they're safe, they're valued, their voice matters, and they have power with that. I think they need to know that when the world is beating them down, that they still have value. And I want to instill that early. And we talk about that a lot. Even in first grade, we talked about it, just knowing that you have worth. And if no one else is going to tell you that, then I'm going to tell you that, because the world doesn't always treat everybody fairly. And we have to, I always tell the parents, I say, you don't have to be smart. You don't have to be the most intelligent person in the room, but you have to be well equipped. And you have to know like what tools you need for which situation. And that's what we want to give to kids. So I like to give out toolkits.
Absolutely. And they need it. They definitely need it. And even if they don't say it, it's appreciated. And we see it as they, get older. Sometimes they may not get the chance to come back and say thank you, but just know that the seeds that you're planting is definitely going to reap a harvest in the future. And so what would you say as a teacher, what are some challenges that you faced and how have you been able to overcome those?
Well, we all have challenges as teachers, right? I'm going to move outside of COVID because I think that we've all harped on those enough. And I think just going back into like what teaching can really look like again. Some of the biggest challenges that I had in the classroom, well, I guess I can touch on both. Some challenges I had in the classroom were with 44 to 47 kids. Chaos.
Wow.
In first grade, we shared one space with 44 kids. With third grade, we have like a double space. But just chaos, chaos, chaos. And that can look like, you know, kids sometimes walking out of the classroom. I'll just be transparent. Now, do we let them walk far? No, but they like try to leave the classroom, or, you know, they're under a desk upset. There's with 44 kids, there's so many different personalities and so many different things that make them happy and that upset them. And sometimes you just like, you don't know what, like where you're stepping and like what is the right move to make. And so I think learning to get to know the kids, and even with 44, like taking the time to really know as much as I can about each of them helps me become a better teacher, because I know that if I do something a certain way and 10 of my kids aren't going to respond to it, then I need to find a different way to go about it. And I think that that translates into virtual too, when we're meeting with kids through so many different, like, I call our Zoom room our classroom. I always have, but it's like they're tuning in from different worlds, right? So, you know, one person is at a daycare center all day and there's like kids running around and super noisy. And then another one is like seated peacefully in their desk at home while their parents in like their attic office that their parents make for them. Like there's just so many different things that have to happen for kids to want to engage in content sometimes. Like I think just reconnecting them with something on this, like on a level playing field. So like for a week when math was hard, we just did Among Us math, and every math assignment that we did had an Among Us background. And of course, not every kid plays Among Us, but every kid knows, at least they've heard the word Among Us before. And it was a way for them to just look at it. And so if we can get them to look at it and pay attention to it, then we can put the learning in little spurts in between, and it'll start to connect. But yeah, just taking the time to get to know that many kids, and being able to invest what I want to be able to give to them in the content to make sure it's reaching everyone, I guess, would be a challenge. But I already talked about overcoming.
Yeah, and I just learned about that game Among Us, but I didn't know that it was an academic version. Can you kind of go into?
Oh, it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not. When I say like the Among Us game, like I just we were working on fraction bars, I think, and instead of using like a fraction page, I just used the Among Us like task bars.
Okay.
And so when they were breaking up the fractions, they were breaking up the task bars.
Gotcha. So you made it more relevant to what they knew.
Exactly.
So that you can further engage them in the learning. Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's all about, you know, that's what teaching is all about, is the whole creativity, you know, being creative and being flexible so that you can invite those students who are coming from different backgrounds into that, you know, educational space. And so I want to commend you in that as well. So at what moment did you say, you know what, I want to be a teacher, and this is something that I want to do?
This is really funny because I'm transitioning out of the classroom right now.
Okay.
So I will say the moment that I wanted to become a teacher was when, well, I was studying event planning. I was about to take an internship, and I kept having these dreams of being a teacher. And when I tell you I've been having these dreams of like walking into a classroom with my name on it since I was like in middle school. But my mom is a teacher, and she has always deterred me from teaching and said, like, go do something else. You can make more money and do less work. And I was like, okay. And so I tried something else, but my heart kept pushing towards it. And I worked in the Office of Admissions at the time, and I walked out and I said I was going on my break, and I walked over to at the education office and signed up. I don't think there was a moment where I just like there wasn't like a moment with a student that clicked or before, but once I became a teacher, I think that seeing students learn how to read was so, I mean, I was crying every single time I did a reading test because it was just so amazing. It was so cool to see like them put in the work and me like trying to figure out how to make it make them understand what I was talking about. And it just started to form over time. And when they were like reading end of first grade books, I was just I was such a mess, and they came such a long way. Yeah, it was a real, I mean, every year when I get to see kids grow, I think is the moment where like when it starts to click for them, which I'm sure everyone says, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just so, it gives you so much satisfaction, and not in like a negative way. It's just really, really powerful to see them just engulf it and it like come back out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, it's definitely amazing. It's amazing what they can do in such short time. So
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned that you are in the teaching profession now and you're transitioning out. Can we talk about what it is that you plan on pursuing? What's the new project on the horizon?
Yes. So we are still staying in the education world, but through this COVID experience, I have realized that there is so much red tape. And I think that we always knew that in education, like there are so many barriers, but they just exposed all of them this year and like didn't feel bad about it. And I was like, are we looking at the same thing? Like, I feel like a pawn in this like huge game where teachers don't feel like they have choices. And we got shown that we didn't have very many choices for a lot of teachers in this situation. We are underpaid and undervalued. Everybody saw that. They noticed it. They didn't do anything. Well, you might have gotten an extra gift card or two this year. I definitely did, but like it doesn't solve the massive problem, right? And then it just really, really made me upset. And I'm an Enneagram 8. Like I cannot, being told what to do when when it doesn't make sense, or it's not necessarily unfair, but when it does not serve a greater purpose, I cannot be okay. And I've always said that when I become a teacher that like cannot put my own feelings past my work, I have to walk away. And so I'm not leaving teaching, but I am taking a sabbatical because I want to learn more about leadership, and I want to work on just getting more information about education reform. And so I'm exploring some like dean of students jobs and things like that, where I'll have some more flexibility in my schedule to be able to get more information on those.
Yeah, so what is it that you would like to create to make the teaching profession even better than what it is? Because we have some, great educators, some great people in leadership, and we also have some that, could use some improvement as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what would you like to see in the future, as let's say you go into that leadership? What type of change would you like to see in that field?
I would like to see logical thinking go before history or procedure. Logical thinking before procedure. Practicality before procedure. Every decision that's being made for teachers are by people who I guarantee haven't been in a classroom, or at least not recently, especially in my state, and in the national federal government as well. I just think that there is a huge, insane disconnect. And because teachers are at the bottom and administrators have their hands tied due to financials and like rules within their local and federal governments, like there has to be a massive overhaul. And I don't know what that looks like, because I think that most, including myself at this point, feel like it can't happen, and it won't, because the people in power don't have any reason to change it. So it's getting people in positions of power that have this knowledge and want to do something different and are willing to take the steps to do that. And I'm definitely too young to do that right now, but that's why I want to take a break from the classroom so that I can get, the knowledge under my belt to be prepared when the time comes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because every opportunity is an opportunity for another opportunity. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely believe that you're going to make impact because what you bring to the table is that experience, and we grow from that pain that we experience. So, what advice would you have for people who are watching?
Ooh, if you are watching this as a teacher,
Yep, if they're watching as a teacher, a parent, an administrator.
lead every interaction that you have with grace. Understand that even in moments of frustration with your administrators or with parents, or if parents are upset with the teachers, lead with grace and assess the situation before you start bringing out, I don't want to say power moves, but before you start accusing or making assumptions, just try to understand, especially right now, the mental toll it takes just to be a teacher. The mental toll that you feel when you know that kids in your classroom are suffering, there's nothing you can do about it, or there's nothing within your realm of control. You're waiting for things to happen. Or if a student is struggling with learning, but they're not showing up to Zoom, or not doing assignments, all of those things. It can be so frustrating. It can be really easy to compare your situation or the situation of what other students or what other families might be doing to justify it or justify your anger. It's just not worth it. In the grand scheme of things, truly, build relationships, build honorable, caring, respectful kids, and just focus on the good, and the learning will always come. It's always going to be there. But if ingrained habits happen and kids aren't getting those foundational social emotional supports, like, the world is just 12 times harder, and they have such a harder time navigating it. We just need to be able to prepare them in every way. And we start by being role models of that.
Yeah, thank you, Danielle, so much. And um, I think that you're going to continue to do great things in the educational field. I know you said you're leaving the classroom, but your hand is still going to be in education. And in the words of Peter Drucker, he says the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I believe that the creativity that you are bringing to this world is definitely going to change it and make it a better place, not only for teachers, but also students who are going to reap those benefits of the teachers that you are going to impact through your future policies that you want to make. So keep up the great work. And I wish you the best in all of your endeavors.
Thank you so much, and same to you.
Thank you.